Welcome to Domino One. I'm your host, Smith Paul, and thank you for watching the channel. Today, we're going to talk about something that's actually pretty depressing, and it's been in the news. And if you have not seen it, it's about the Louisiana shooting. The father that went on this shooting spree and killed basically his whole family. I think he even shot his wife multiple times, but didn't die as of right now. So if you didn't see it, here's a headlight, so you can take a look real quick.
A disturbing trail of social media posts is now at the center of the Shreveport mass shooting, where gunman Shamar Elkins killed 8 children, 7 of them his own, in a brutal rampage. A chilling new picture is emerging from the Shreveport mass shooting. The gunman, Shamar Elkins, a 31-year-old Army veteran, had posted a smiling photo with his daughter just hours before unleashing a deadly rampage.
So today, what I want to talk about, obviously, the shooting is devastating. And I usually don't talk about those kind of stuff on the channel, but I'm going to be doing a little bit more reacting to videos, but hopefully my take will be a little bit different. My take will get you to think a little bit more, will get you to dissect the situation a little bit more than what the normal main people are talking about on a regular basis. And I think it's important. And why do I think that's important? I think in life, you got to understand the patterns. You got to learn from the mistakes that's been made before, and you got to learn from patterns so that so history doesn't repeat itself. And that goes for everything in life. It goes for when you're a parent, you got to learn what you went through as a kid so that when you become a parent, you can do it differently, obviously in a positive way. And so, and again, you can substitute parenting to anything else in life. You just got to learn from mistakes and you got to learn patterns. And lately we've had a lot of shootings. So this one in particular, so before I dive into this one really is, it just hits differently. It hits deeply than the other ones. Not that the other ones were justified, not that the other ones were, I'm okay with them or anything like that. But it's just, sometimes you hear about, terrorism. So the guy, I believe when the war started, there was a guy that was wearing a property of Allah who went on the shooting spree and started shooting people at him. How would you like to make a difference today? Well, with the price of a cup of coffee, you can help me send kids to school in Haiti, my hometown, Cap Haitian. Gandhi once said, if you want to find yourself, lose yourself in the service of others. Now head on over to smithpaul.com and see how you can help me make those dreams a reality. Thank you. Bar in Texas, in Austin, Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously you hear those stories and you just cannot believe what you're listening to or what you're seeing in the news. And then you hear about, whether it's a transgender that went on and shot up a school and killed kids, all those things, devastating. And whatsoever, just pick a shooting. But one thing that at least I have been able to attach to the shooting, the shootings that help me kind of wrap my head around them as much as I can. I don't think you can fully wrap your head around somebody going and just shut up a whole school or a church and try to understand that person's brain. I think if you're anything like me, you will only end up with disbelief and just, you have to be possessed with some sort of demonic energy at the very least, because all you got to do is just ask yourself the same question. What would possess me to go shoot a whole bunch of innocent people, let alone kids? So going back to this particular shooting, the guy, Mr. Elkins, I believe that was his name. So he shot up his whole family, and ages from 1 to, I believe, 7. Again, you can double check me on that, fact check me on that. Well, if I have I think all the way up to 11, from 1 to 11. He shot up his whole family. And so in the news right now, you're seeing, oh my gosh, devastating news. A father went on and shot, 7 of his own kids, his own blood, and I think there was a nephew in there. And you read that the one person or one kid was trying to escape, and he shot that person on the roof. He went and shot his wife multiple times in the chest and the head, and then went in a different house, started shooting people. This is the headlines. This is what we're reading about. This is what's in front of me. This is what you see in the news. If you hadn't seen it when I played it for you, that's kind of what you see. That's the gist. And what happens next? Wow. Another shooting. Man, this is enough. We can't have any more of this. This is crazy. Why are people doing this? And then that's kind of it. That's called being immune to it. You are there, and a lot of us are there. I'm there in a certain way, but I don't want to be there. Reason why I don't want to be there, I don't want to believe that this is normal. I don't want to be sitting here and getting a phone call and my kids are at school right now and there was a school shooting. Now I'm worried about like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? Is one of my kids shot? Like what's going like I don't want that to be the norm. And I think as a civilized country, as a civilized people, we should be asking for more and should push ourselves to talk, open debates, open conversations to see if we can get to a solution to this. And so for me, I don't want to talk about just the headlights of the whatever you see in the news right now. Like the main thing that you see, father killed eight people and then went on to, I think he shot himself, if I'm not mistaken. Either he shot himself after he hijacked another car or the police shot him. Either one. Putting all those aside, have you guys asked what could bring somebody to such unthinkable act? Have you asked yourself that question? Probably you have, and you probably ended up with crazy people, man. There are so many crazy people out there. People are nuts. People are just crazy. How can you do something like that? Kids, they're innocent. Wow. What did they do to you? Your own blood? That is just unheard of. And then you kind of leave it there. But today, what I want to leave you with, or what I want to challenge you with, is basically something along the lines of what I've been talking about on this channel, right? I want to push you to think a little bit deeper. Look around, look at the people around you. Because with any and all of those things, there were signs, whether they were very palpable or just kind of very subtle signs, there were signs. And I know what you might be asking. This is not my job. Why do I have to be on the lookout for people who are about to commit mass casualty, mass shootings, and just unthinkable things? Well, sadly, I understand that. I would understand that answer, but I think we're all in it now. Want it or not, believe it or not, we're all in it. You never know when something like that's gonna hit home. You never know when tragedy is gonna hit close to home. It could be one of your loved ones. It could be a friend of yours. It could be your kids at school. It could be your kids at church. It could be your wife, your husband. You never know. And so therefore, what do we do? And so what I want to challenge you with is this: be more aware of your surrounding. That's the one thing. In the sense that you want to stay safe. You want to be more aware, a little bit more hyper vigilant, so that at least you might know when those things are happening. But in the case of Mr. Elkins, who went on to shoot his own blood, again, as I'm speaking to you right now, this one in particular, there's been a lot of shootings and I have not been reported on any of them. But this one is just so unthinkable, not to take away anything from the other ones. All of them are just unjustified and absolutely abhorrent. To shoot your own kids, every single one of them, that is a different type of demon. That is just a different type of demon. And so I want to read this to you from the NewYorkTimes.com, NewYorkTimes.com. And I thought it was kind of enlightening how I'm talking about be vigilant and be aware of your surroundings, the people that you talk with, the people in your circle, or even right outside of your circle. Understanding a little bit of what they're going through could help save lives. And so I'm not blaming the parents for what I'm about to read, but this is what, after they interviewed, I believe, his relatives, Mr. Elkins, this is something that I thought was interesting. So I want to read it to you guys. And this is on the NewYorkTimes.com. So if you want to go read it, it's an interesting article. So it says, on Sunday afternoon, friends and relatives of Mr. Elkins said they were processing the devastating toll of killings. The police have not offered a possible motive and their investigation is ongoing. But it goes on. Quote, in interviews, relatives described Mr. Elkins as someone who was recently struggling with his mental health and who was stressed about the relationship with his wife, Shaniqua Pugh. I believe that was her name. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. It went on. Earlier this month, on Easter Sunday, he called his mother, Mahalia Elkins, and his stepfather, Marcus Jackson. Miss Elkins and Mr. Jackson said in interviews that their son sounded despondent. They said they could hear his children playing in the background during the call. Mr. Elkins told them through tears that he wanted to take his own life. He told Mr. Jackson that his wife wanted to divorce him and that he was drowning in dark thoughts. And so it went on. I believe Mr. Jackson then responded to him, quote, I told him, you can beat this stuff, man. I don't care what you're going through. You can beat it, said Mr. Jackson. That's his stepfather. Then I remember him telling me some people don't come back from their demons. Again, there are signs. Sometimes they're palpable. They're very, out there. You can see them if you just look hard enough. You can hear them if you listen. There are signs. Now, we can't go back and say, maybe if they were to do this, maybe this wouldn't have happened, maybe this, maybe that, maybe that. Because at the end of the day, that is Mr. Elkin's decision to seek help. Mr. Elkin Elkin's decision to bolster his mental fortitude for whatever he's going through so that it doesn't get to that. It's his responsibility to not only seek the help, but to understand that those thoughts don't belong to me. Those thoughts cannot stay here. Who can I talk with? Who can I talk to help me with those things? We don't know what he went through. We don't know how severe it was, but we can deduce from his actions that it was severe enough that led him to kill his whole family. Like I said, it takes a special demon, a special kind of demon to want to kill your own blood. 1 year old, 3 year old, 7, 11. It takes a special demon. And so we cannot just listen to those stories and see those headlines and just act as if, well, this is the norm. It may be happening a lot to a point where you feel like this is indeed the norm and you might feel helpless. What can you do? What can I do? Maybe you don't want to talk like me in front of a camera telling people to just be more vigilant, be more aware, be more involved, maybe ask the question or two, be a little bit more interested before somebody gets to a point where they feel like they're so alone in this life. Now, Mr. Elkins was very alone, according to his words. He felt like he was dealing with demons that he could not beat. Those demons were going to conquer him, when in fact they did. And so today we can live in this world where, everything that I'm saying right now would just go right over your head or, pretend that you can't do it. But that's a given up type of attitude. That's a weak attitude because we're not just going to blink. We're not just going to wish or we're not going to just wave our magic wand and then this world's going to go back to a certain level of security, safety, and just comfortability that we can feel like we're comfortable with. We can feel like, well, this is good enough. I think I can live with that. But what about the ones that are not only suffering right now with perhaps a similar fate as Mr. Elkins? What do they do? Because weak people do exist in this world. There are a lot of them, and I will classify Mr. Elkins as one of them. If you don't belong in that category, you don't have to be speaking in front of a podcast, in front of a camera, or have a podcast. You can do very little things within your community that could be of massive impact. Like I said, I'm not blaming Mr. Jackson or Mr. Elkins' stepfather or his mother. I think in that article as well, they talk about the fact that his mother, Mrs. Elkins, had him at a very young age in her teenage years. And she was also dealing with crack cocaine. And so therefore, Mr. Elkins grew up with another family friend. I'll talk about, and my next video is going to be about another reaction that I'm going to do um, about the Kia boys, I guess. So stay tuned for that. And so that's the outcome of lack of parenting. That's also a huge factor. Now, you're going to ask, so parents couldn't have helped him from killing his own family? Like, what could they do? They can tell him not to do it all they want, just like Mr. Jackson said. I told him, you can beat this, man. You can beat this stuff. I don't care about what you're going through. You can beat it. And I'm quoting Mr. Jackson here. Of course. That's what you're supposed to tell him. You're supposed to encourage him, tell him that, yes, indeed, you can beat it. And those demons don't belong in you. Those demons, do you need prayers? Do you need some sort of support? Can I suggest something? That's exactly what he's supposed to tell him. But don't you think if he had enough people in his life to be telling him the same thing, it could have been different? How involved was his mom in his life? His dad was never even mentioned. I don't know if he was dead or if he was just, a baby daddy that never cared to be in his life. His mom, according to the article, came back in his life about a little over a decade ago. So how much of an impact was that? So when like actions, every actions, there's a consequence that would come after it. It could be good, it could be bad. So for the people who just feel like, I can just live my life, make whatever decisions that I want, whether it affects you directly or indirectly, there will be a consequence. Just like my pastor always says, you're allowed to make any choice, you're allowed to make any decision that you want. You're not entitled for the consequences that come after that. So I preach about family foundation and just having good moral, good ethics, anchor yourself in some sort of religious belief. And in my case, in God and Jesus, being a Christian. Those things they've been there forever. They're not just there just because it's a status quo or just like it's a label. Somebody, hey, I'm this, I'm a Christian, I'm Hindu, I'm Buddha. There's more to them. I'm not going to speak on any other religions but Christianity because I don't know about them. What I know is not enough to talk about them, but I do know about being a Christian. I do know about loving one another. I do know about being involved in each other's lives. I do know about living a life that pleases God, a life of love, forgiveness, of just showing genuine love because we're all brothers and sisters in Christ. And every time I see those kind of shootings, I always wish, man, I just wish I had the opportunity, the chance to talk to Mr. Elkins. I don't believe like I'm a therapist or anything like that, and I'm not the mean therapist either, but I do think a great friend, a friend that really truly knows you, and a spouse could also play that role, but a great friend that really knows you is the best therapy that you could ever ask for. And I just wish that I could at least had a chance to talk to him and just show him that there's support in this life, whether you have to go seek it from a professional, quote unquote, or to people in this life who cares about you, man. People in this life who care about you enough to tell you that this decision is the worst possible decision. To go and kill your whole family thinking that will make things better is the worst possible scenario. So therefore, don't do it. Let me help you. Let me give you the help that you need. Let me help you to get the help that you need if I'm not the one. So people, we got to do something. We can't just watch those headlines and then get immune to them. Because I tell you what's going to happen, God forbid. One day, you're not just going to watch the headline. You're going to be a part of it. It's just the reality of it. It's just the reality of it. You can't tell me that you know when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, how it's going to happen. Because every day there are more and more of those people feeling like they're so desperate. There's nothing to live for. And the only outcome is just to exit this world. And as they're exiting this world, they're committing horrendous crimes. They're leaving in their wake the worst possible pain that you can think of. Think about that mother who didn't die, who got shot multiple times, didn't die. Think about what she has to live with now. Just play a little game. Just remove yourself from your life right now. Put yourself in her shoes. Think about what she has to go through now. No kids. All 7 of her kids died. She got shot by somebody she thought loved her, or at least at some point loved her. Imagine somebody like that. My condolences to all of them. And I just pray and wish that that mother and everybody from that family, the Elkins family, the Jackson family, they seek out God. They seek out the help that they need. Because this one's they're not easy one, really not easy one. This one is the probably one of the worst ones. And so we got to do better. We have got to do better. The world is not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. But while we live in it, we have to find a way to coexist. We have to find a way to love one another, even from a distance. Love one another enough to at least say that I did try to help this man. I did try to get involved. And don't tell me the whole, well, he has to be held accountable for his actions. That's obvious. We're not, it's just obvious. We're not talking about like everything that he could have done. I'm challenging you to be a little bit more aware, to look around a little bit more. How can I help? How can I be different today? How can I show God's love? If you're a Christian and you want to like be like Christ, how can I show God's love? How can I be more of help to those around me? Because it's those little things in life sometimes that make the biggest difference. It's those little things in life. We don't think about them. We get complacent. We don't want to do them. We're too focused. We're too self-centered. It's just me, 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 me. But every once in a while, try to remove yourself from yourself and seek to do some sort of random act of kindness. You don't know how far that's going to get. I don't know what was his community all about. I don't know the people within his circle, but try to remove yourself from yourself every once in a while. And eventually you get better at it to a point where when you do it, it's not even something that you have to think about. So that's my challenge. My condolences again to everybody that is suffering right now, the community as well. I can't even imagine something like that happening within my community here. It would be hard to just come to term with that. So I pray for that community. Father God, bless them, bless that community. And I just pray that you comfort the Elkins family and the Jackson family. Amen. Till next time. Peace.